Hi guys, Casey here, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about doing upholstery in my Sprinter van. Now, just to be very clear, I'm going to lay this out up front. I am no upholsterist. I am terrible at upholstery. I cannot even sew a button on to my own pants. All right, I have rock climbed. I can tie many different knots. Okay, some very well. But I am not an expert at upholstery. So I tried to simplify this, so I did in my van. You may have learned in some other posts I've made that I decided to go with a fabric that could go at least be 60 inches in width. And the reason why is I only have 5 wall panels in my van, 5 total panels, that's it. So I had to cut 5 panels. That covers the whole entire van, 3 on the driver's side, 2 on the passenger side. And mine is a 170, so the mid-length, the mid-height. And that means each of my panels is about somewhere around 55 to 50, somewhere between like 53 to 57 inches. So call it about 55 inches in width. They vary a little bit, unfortunately, for every single one. So I needed a fabric that was 60 inches wide to be able to wrap around the back of the fabric, the sides and the back of each of my wall panels, which very much limited to the fabrics I could choose. So I did not go with the typical interweave that almost everybody does in the vans. And also I wanted to do something a little different. I decided to kind of go with a marine fabric, and I was really going to go with a marine vinyl that looked somewhat like a leather. But I was talked out of it by a friend of mine who also had built out a Sprinter van and had some familiar boats. And I wasn't really sure why. I should have got more details before I made that decision, because I kind of wish I had in hindsight, particularly the fabric I chose. I can post it as show notes, the actual fabric I did choose. I can't remember at this point in time. But it's had a lot of issues. It's been problematic in that it doesn't stretch at all. It has a lot of kind of lumpiness to it. And it doesn't really adhere very well to most of the adhesives out there. Some of the adhesives actually soak through it, which I'm going to show you today. What I'm building today is actually the wall cavities within the slider door, which is one of the hardest things to build out in a Sprinter van when it comes to the walls. A lot of people just leave them unfinished. I felt like that's kind of silly. There's a lot of available space there, as in there's 3 pockets on the top side above, top side of the slider door to use for cubbies to put stuff in. And so I've been working on different ways to really build out cubbies there and to utilize that and also insulate it, because it is very noisy. It's noticeably noisy. When I did not insulate it at all and had the whole rest of the van insulated, including the slider door, except for those 3 overhead pockets in the slider door, I could noticeably hear the road noise coming in, especially when passing a vehicle on that side. You could hear the tire noise, the wind noise. A significant amount of road noise came in just in through that. It really goes to prove the point of insulating of the vehicle. It makes a tremendous difference. So I went ahead now and I've insulated in that slider door behind this cubby that I am using. So I'm going to show you this cubby and kind of what the result's been and how I'm going to fix sort of my bad, call it upholstery job. So I'll show you here in a minute. So what I went with is this prefabricated plastic panel with 3 cubbies. I was thinking about building something like this myself and selling it, but somebody's already gotten to it and they did a pretty good job with this. The cubbies could be a little bit bigger. They're a little bit undersized for the cubbies and slider door, but they're still reasonably very close to it, and it's a good job with the product. It does definitely add some nice storage capacity. You can see I went ahead and wrapped it in foam. I used some of my extra foam here just to kind of put over some of the spots where it touches the metal. It's also insulated on the inside of my slider door, which I'll show you later. But just to give it a little more, call it dampening, make sure there's no vibration of this plastic on the metal or anything like that. I just used a couple extra little strips here in the bottom too. This is the top side of the cubby, and you can see how I wrapped my upholstery, my fabric, around the top of it, first gluing inside these cubbies, which is pretty challenging. You can see that, you know, they do go down their recess, which is very nice. They have a nice lip here to hold stuff in, but the glue I used soaked right through my fabric. It's a problem I've had with this fabric, and it's a problem I've had with multiple glues. The glue also, which is a spray adhesive, ran down. That spray adhesive I used is this one here, the 3M rubber and vinyl number 80 spray adhesive. Granted, it does say it's for rubber and vinyl. It works good for the foam that is underneath this, gives a little extra padding and also sound and thermal insulation, but it clearly did not work with my fabric here, same as my wall panels. I did not use this spray adhesive on my wall panels. I used, I think it was number 90 or 91 of 3M's product, which did work reasonably well. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try a different adhesive that I bought. It says EM6000. It comes in a tube, and I think they also make it a spray adhesive. I also bought, just to be sure, in case this doesn't work, because it's quite a big space and area to have to cover, I bought this Gorilla spray adhesive, which I'm not sure how it's going to work, so I've got some spare fabric here and so forth to try that out. By the way, that rubber, that red spot on the side there, that's my laser stop indicator in my garage here. I'm out of I'm out of bench space to work on this. I'm working on the garage floor. You see, I got everything I need. I got my paper towels, I have my gloves, I've got a glue brush, you know, my marking pen, wax marking pen. I've got my scissors, and certainly some other fabric and paper towels here to all work, to hopefully make this all work and go smoothly. I've already cut out another piece of fabric to go over this one that looks so crappy. I just can't stand it. It's so bad. I'm not going to redo the cubbies. Those will be kind of obscured a little bit in the shadows anyways. It won't look great, but at least the outer layer will look much better. And I've already cut out the openings for the recess. I've put some little call it stress relievers here, so as I pull this fabric, if there's a little bit of kind of looseness in one direction or another, I can pull a little bit that way. And then of course also around the corners here. I'm not sure if this is a perfect way. This is not based on any particular pattern or knowledge other than just my attempt here. And what I've to relieve some of that tension and really wrap it around these curved corners of this piece that matches the curves in the slider door. So anyways, I did that, and then you can see I also did my markings on it with my wax marker, wax pen, and that way I can, what my plan is here is I'm going to apply glue to the top side of this, let it kind of get just dry ever so slightly. It's going to probably dry anyways because I have a lot to cover here, and unfortunately that tube and spreading it is going to go very slowly, but I'm going to do my best to do it quickly, spread it around. It'll probably start setting up within a minute or two, so I've got to move very quickly, and then I'm going to flip this over onto this lined up with my markings, and I'm going to hope that it's going to adhere well. I'm going to flip it back over, take my roller brush, roll it out, or roller wheel, roll it out, make sure I got any crease, anything smoothed out, and then I'll probably flip it back over, glue down these edges here, and also these flaps here. So it's going to be a multi-step process. It's the best I know how to do it. If you have any suggestions, please let me know and let others know so we can all learn and improve and do better on the next build out that someone's doing. All right, hope this helps. Thanks. I'll give you an update when this is done. All right, Casey here, and finished with this slider door overhead cabinet. What do you call it? Storage spaces, upholstering it. It did not turn out that great, but it's better than it was, and I think you'll agree. Here, let me show you. So this is the new sheet of fabric I put over it. You can see in the cubbies here, there's still a lot of glue that's shown through in those cubbies, which I did not recover those, as I said before. There's a little bit of glue still showing through in a few spots here, particularly down here where I did have to add some more of this heinous incorrect spray adhesive in 3M, the number 80. It just did not work well. It soaked right through, but I just couldn't get also to work with this SM6000 here. So it is E6000 adhesive, and this one, the 3M80, did soak through. I did not try this Gorilla spray. I was afraid to try it, and particularly didn't want to have to open it after already having a couple other adhesives here. So I'm gonna go install this, and I'm gonna get back to you and show you how it looks. All right, Casey here. So let me show you my slider door. I have this lower cabinet, which did get upholstered pretty well because it's got a nice flat surface, and I had time to get the adhesive to set. This is my upper cabinet. You can see I've added a lot of insulation here, thin slate, I then put this adhesive foam over the Thinsulate and put some little strips in between here. This is fully stuffed up in here on the top, in the bottom, and even in between these little ribs here, and certainly over here on the sides. So it is fully stuffed with insulation, good insulation. It's definitely quieted down. This right here is adhered to the outside wall of the slider door. So this is a very little amount of insulation. You can see it's at, you know, it's less than 1/4 of an inch, probably about 3/16, maybe as much as 1/4 of an inch. But that is probably about all I can fit behind the behind these cubbies here. So we're gonna give it a shot and install this. All right, Casey here once again, and this is the finished product of the overhead cabinets and the slider door. You can see my upholstery work is crappy. I am definitely the first to admit it. A little bit of crease lines in here and the foam from the clamps I put. Hopefully those will push out. Some spray adhesive that has created some probably permanent stains in here, and certainly inside of these cabinets as well, inside the cubbies I mean. But overall it's got a nice finish. It does cut down in there, so you can put things in there and it won't fall out. That's very, very nice. My upholstery job sucks, but at least the product is done, it's finished, and it looks all right. Nice thing is too, they give you a couple extra clips in this kit, just in case you break one of these, and so that's very nice. So there's the overall job on the cubby overhead, the slider overhead cubbies. So pretty good little kit. Definitely saves some time probably doing it this way than any other way, and certainly glad to have this done. So I'll put some notes in the note section, and so that way you have more of the details here, and if you want to follow up. All right, ciao now.